Welcome, Molly.
Thank you so much for having me.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. I've actually been thinking about the word welcome a little bit. Like creates a space for someone. So like welcome into the space. So please tell everybody about who you are and what you do.
Well, I am Molly Marie Kent. I am the Supreme of the Omenbringer coven, and we are Nashville's best band as voted by the Nashville Scene Readers, which is our most famous local publication. But we are Nashville's best and coolest stoner metal witch band, and we are here
Hell,
to take over.
hell yeah. Stoner metal, witch band. I also hear a little bit of doom and sometimes even some shock rock elements.
Ooh, thank you for saying that.
I don't know if you've heard of a band called T-Rocks out of Seattle. They're now defunct, but the bassist Ursula has been on this show, and I used to be one of their backup dancer singers. But I'll send you the music later and see if it like is fun for you to listen to.
Please
So,
do.
um, when did you realize that rock and metal music was calling you to create more of it?
So it was prior to 2020, a little bit prior to 2020, I had been in a cover band and I just wanted to start writing my own music. So around 2020, I started writing some of my own songs and then everything shut down. And so I had to just kind of start from scratch making my band after that, when everything was slowly coming back together and opening back up. And so that's kind of when I started. But I've identified as a witch since I was a young child, and I've identified kind of as a songwriter since I was a teenager.
Nice. Yeah, it sounds like you did a power pivot, as all of the greatest rock goddesses have done. Grace Slick going out of Jefferson Airplane, everybody, Doro leaving Warlock, Yuta Weinhold leaving Zed Yago, and um, really everybody. Everybody who kept going had their power pivot moment that was the catalyst for them to keep going. So
Yeah.
maybe you just have to power pivot.
Yeah.
Um,
Joan Jett,
there
just
you go.
strong power pivot right there.
That's right. So if your music were a movie soundtrack, what would the movie be about?
Oh my gosh, it would probably be like a continuation of Hocus Pocus or some kind of magical movie that definitely had witches in it and witchcraft. That would be my dream. Actually, my dream would actually be to compose music for a continuation of Fantasia.
Ooh, okay. Because at first I was thinking we were getting like a darker practical magic, but now we're getting like a really like classical witchy animated kind of.
Yeah, there is an enormous amount of classical music influence in our music, and someone who is a fan of Beethoven or a fan of Mussorgsky would definitely be able to pick those elements out. But Fantasia had an enormous impact on me. Animation is one of my favorite things in the world, and so that ending scene with Chernobog and Mussorgsky's Night on Bald Mountain had an enormous effect on me because it was a magical depiction of Walpurgis Nacht, and that's kind of my favorite iteration of like the devil in modern, you know, imagery. So I do absolutely love that. But Fantasia was supposed to be a continuing project. It was supposed to be made every few years with different pieces of music.
Mm.
And so they made one in the 40s or late 39, something like that. And then they made the next one in the year 2000. So I'd like to be, Fantasia 2030 or something like that. I'd like to do that.
Well, you gotta be careful with your words. Sounds like a heap of work is coming for you. So my favorite Fantasia parts were maybe you can tell me who the composers were for these scenes. The dinosaur scene where there's an earthquake and it's like trumpets like rah, rah. You know what I'm talking about?
I do, I do. I don't remember the composer for that. That was actually my least favorite part because I
Oh,
found it to be sad and scary.
I thought it was scary too.
It
I
was
used to
dark.
like build a pillow fort as a kid in between me and the TV so that I could like hide under it when that scene was happening. But it was fascinating. And then the other favorite is the ostrich hippo ballet.
Oh yes, yes, the Dance of the Hours.
Yeah.
But I love the Centaur Ladies, and that's the
Oh,
Pastoral by Beethoven.
that is another great scene. That whole movie is so wonderful.
That whole movie is magic.
What what have you discovered about yourself in moments when you've had to make difficult sacrifices for your art?
So the number one thing that I would say is that you just have to keep going and you have to remember when you have a setback that you have another chance tomorrow and that you just need to keep following your dream and you need to keep following your gut and your own advice. And people will naysay you or they'll try to convince you of their point of view, but if you stay true to yourself as an artist, you'll always be happy with what you have made. If you start taking other people's advice or doing things that you don't really want to do, then you're not going to be happy with what you have made. So ultimately, my bandmates really trust my vision, and they don't argue with me on that. They understand that I have a huge grand plan in mind for our music and our albums, and they follow my lead, and that has gotten us very, very far because I am good with money. I'm good with planning. I'm a Capricorn, so I'm always like 10 steps ahead of everything. And so it's just wonderful to have a team that like trusts me and helps me execute this vision. And that's like we collaborate together, but they understand that like I have a vision and that I kind of have like an ultimate say. So they help me execute my vision, which helps us advance so much.
That's excellent. Every band definitely needs a leader with a vision. Um, love that. And yeah, it's so true that like creating meaningful work is at the end of the day um going to like create a more satisfying life than uh like what's the way to say this? Um doing something expected maybe.
Yeah, and a band should not be run as a democracy. There should be a leader that takes the charge because then it won't be a concise vision. It will be scattered. It will be not consistent. A band should be run like a pirate ship, and I am the
Mhm.
captain.
Mhm.
I'm the captain, and I have the ultimate say. But without everybody on the ship cannot function and it cannot run and it cannot stay true to course. So
Mm.
every person is essential. There's one person who has to take the lead. And if you don't have that in a band, you're always going to have a dysfunctional effort. So you
Mm.
need to have someone that has the plan. Everybody follows the plan and they follow through.
A modern day monarchist. So, if you could have any three pieces of band memorabilia of all time, what would you like to have?
Oh man. I would like to have Phil Lynott's heart necklace that he wore all the time. Phil Lynott from Thin Lizzy is my favorite, one of my all-time favorite rock and rollers. He's a magical person, kind of misunderstood and not appreciated enough for how awesome he was. So I would love to have something of Phil's. I would probably love to have some piece of like a David Bowie costume,
Mm.
like something from Aladdin Sane or The Labyrinth or really just about anything that he touched. He was such a magical person, and he had a really wonderful way of talking about art. And he explained that if you need to push yourself and you need to go so far out into the water that you're almost not able to breathe anymore. You're like you barely have your head over the water, and that's where you're really going to start creating and really going to start pushing your boundary and making magic. And I love that. I love that he really thought that you should really push yourself for creativity. And then, hmm, I would probably love to have something from George Harrison too, because I do love the Beatles so much. Or from Ozzy. That would be cool.
Nice. Yeah. Phil's mirror pick guard would be a choice for me as well. And also, yes, anything from the labyrinth, for sure. Can I have the crystal ball?
Yeah.
Uh if you could pick the bands for the lineup of a dream festival, who would you choose? Any size? And where would the festival take place?
Well, we would be the headliner, which would
Naturally.
be awesome.
Hmm.
and we would co-headline with Ghost because that would be a perfect matchup of our audience and who they love. So I'm always thinking about the audience and like what they would like. I would love to have Pentagram on that lineup. I'd love to have Smolder on that lineup as well. I love them. They're so interesting. Um, be hard. I'd have to really sit and think about that more because I'd like to have all kinds of people on there. But ultimately, I'm always thinking about the coven, the customer, and like how do you entice them so much that they couldn't possibly say no? So
Mm,
I would sit and really think about like who are the bands that all the people that love us the most would love to see
mm,
so that they just have this like all together enormously awesome experience that they just couldn't possibly pass up buying a ticket to.
mm. And where would it take place?
Hmm. This is hard to say because I absolutely hate the cold. So it would not be anywhere north of Kentucky anytime after fall. Unless it was, if we could have some really big festival thing at the Satanic Temple in Salem, that would be really cool. I would like that. Or if it was not too hot, maybe in late October or around, like it would be cool if it was kind of like our own Voodoo Fest down in New Orleans.
Ooh, both of those are good. Midsummer at the Satanic Temple, very appealing.
Yeah,
Um,
that could be cool.
so what's a comfortable balance for you between the rock star who has curious fans online and at gigs, and the private individual who doesn't want to share everything? Another way to think of it is what's something you love talking with your fans about, and what's something you wish people would stop asking you?
I love talking to the fans about our music. I love to hear what they think about it. I love to hear their interpretations of our songs. I don't love to hear like too much like suggestions of what people think we should do, like covers that we should do. That I don't need to hear that. We're only ever going to do stuff that I love to sing because if I don't love to sing it, I'm not going to perform it great. I'm not, my heart's not going to be in it. So I don't really want to hear that, like what you think we should do. Trust me, we're going to do awesome stuff. And if you have a great time at our shows, you're always going to have a great time at our shows. Like I'm going to make sure of it.
Awesome. And what? Okay, so you love. All right, all right. That's pretty much a good answer there. Um, all right. So looking back on everything that you've been up to, what was a big decision you made that turned out to be a great choice?
So, a big decision. Okay, something that we did with our first record, so it's called Thick Darkness, and I reached out to a man, his name is Kevin Szymanski, and he worked on one of my favorite rock albums of all time, Queens of the Stone Age, Songs for the Deaf. He was one of the producers on that album. And we took a gamble and reached out to him, and he agreed to work with us on our album. And it was really cool having a producer like him work with us. Um, we're not going to do that for our second record. We're going to do all of it in-house ourselves. But I learned a lot from having Kevin there, and I loved him. He was such a cool, fun person to work with, and he was good about, telling me, "Okay, I think you got a better take." Oh, or that was good, like, or
Mhm.
why don't you try this? And gave me some ideas, but didn't like he understood my vision and didn't interject too much into it. He kind of liked all my ideas and then he would just occasionally make some suggestions and stuff, which we would do. So as what I learned from that is that it is worth it to have somebody in there producing you that's outside of your band. You want some third party opinion that you trust and that you value giving you
Mm.
advice.
Mm. Okay, yeah. I was gonna say the mixing on your album is really fun. Somebody did a great job with panning and layering in there. Was that him? That was
No,
you?
that was me.
Excellent
So
work.
the he was the producer, but I was really the co-producer on that. And I mean, I would say 70% or 80% of the album sound is me. I went through and meticulously told him where to pan stuff, how to pan it, when to do left and right. I told him I wanted tons of that because the sonic influence for this album was Dark Side of the Moon.
Mm.
So it was meant to really be listened to in headphones and be kind of an
Yeah.
aural experience around your entire head. So that was 100% me, all the panning. And he was like, at the end of it, he actually was like, I've never done anything like that. I've never done that much panning and, detail in the mixing like that. And I enjoyed it. It was fun, but it was definitely a challenge for me. And I was like, okay, I'm glad.
Yeah, well, your effect came across clearly because I listened to it on regular speakers and I thought I need to re-listen to this with my AirPods because they've got, the sound blocking and everything. That I hate AirPods for a lot of reasons, but they are actually awesome for listening to music with.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is an exciting question to ask you. What does it feel like when your intuition is speaking to you?
It is a moment of pure, just like excitement. I get
Mm.
so excited when I have like an idea that comes to me and I immediately will start working on it. I'll just like put whatever I'm doing aside. Even if I'm driving, I'll just like throw on my voice memo recorder and just talk into it so I can go back later and write down the idea or start fleshing out the idea. I have an enormous folder in my phone that's full of ideas for future songs. And so I love that when you have like a little moment of intuition or a moment of an idea and the creativity sparks in you. It just feels so magic when that happens.
Yeah, totally. It's interesting to hear about people like and their bodily sensations and reactions to their intuition. And some people have no idea when it's speaking to them as well. So it's great to have the community discuss this a bit because I think it's a part of women's power to ignore the like mechanized, evidence-based way that we're taught to move through the world and give more energy to our ability to pick up the small signals and make meaning from them. What is your favorite gear and your favorite stage wear?
Ooh, okay. So, my gear right now, I have a Shure wireless mic. And once we went wireless and I started using in-ears, that was such a huge game changer because I can hear myself and I can stay on pitch much easier because obviously we're a metal band, it's loud as hell. And so I need to be able to hear what I'm doing. So that was like a great, awesome game changer, having some really nice in-ears for myself. And I have actually one of my favorite pieces of gear that I always take to every show is my wizard staff.
Mm.
I have four of them.
Mhm.
They are all named after Lord of the Rings characters. So I have Gandalf the Grey, I have Galadriel, who is my OG like first staff that I bought, and then I have a purple one with a big new crystal orb in it, and that's Arwen. So I have all of my awesome orbs, and then the other one I have is actually she's not named after she's her name is Maleficent, so she's actually not a Lord of the Rings character, but I don't use that one on stage, so she doesn't really count.
Oh, okay. I love that. Yeah, my bass guitars have names. One is an explorer body named Lady, so she's Lady the Explorer, and then the other one is War Child, which is a star shaped like Bootsy Collins bass, and that's War Child the Star.
That's cool. That's awesome.
They got
There's a
names.
goofy character from Point Break called War Child, by the way.
What is it from?
Point Break, one of the dumbest movies ever made.
Oh, okay. I have not seen it. And okay, so when you hit the inevitable flaming hoop in the circus, like your van loses a wheel or your drummer breaks their foot right before the show, what helps you keep the mindset that supports you going forward?
All of us are warriors. None of us would ever let something like that get in our way. We would figure out a way to get around it and to persevere, and the show must go on. All of us feel that way. So, it's kind of nice when you have a challenge like that, especially like after the fact, after you surmount it, you just feel proud of yourself that you figured out how to get through it, because you always do, right? So, we haven't had much bad luck at all in any of our shows. Really, we are all so professional and have been performers for so long that we don't usually forget gear or make mistakes like that, but I'm sure they will happen. But most of us are kind of like double, triple prepared. So I always have an extra mic in my bag. I have all kinds of extra stuff in case I need it, because you just never know. So always be prepared, I guess.
All right. What is a performance memory that you'll never forget?
I'll never forget our album release show for Thick Darkness. It was our very first sold out show. So it was a very magical feeling to have a sold out show. And it was actually the week of CMA Fest, which is
Oh,
probably the biggest music event in Nashville during the year. It's multiple days, it's all downtown. So there's everybody is involved with that. They're like all the performing musicians are all downtown performing. So to have a sold out show at a smaller venue during such an enormous event is a huge deal.
for
And then
sure.
obviously we recently won the Nashville's best band in the Nashville scene, and that is an enormous deal for me because I'm a Nashville native, and that is like the cool kid publication in town, like has been for decades. It's awesome. So to win something like that, like all of my favorite restaurants have plaques from the Nashville scene, like won some award best year. So to have that under our belt is an enormous source of pride, but it would not be possible either of those things without our beautiful coven members who are so loyal to us and love to see us succeed and do everything in their power to help us and show up for us. So, having a loyal crowd like that in Nashville, it's not common. The market is extremely overly saturated with music and bands. So for us to have that, it really stands out, I believe. I think it's part of our magic is having a really strong coven.
Yeah, if Castle Rat ever goes through Nashville, you guys should definitely try to team up. I think you'd have a good crossover of audience.
Oh, definitely. We would love to have Castle Rat Down play with us. They're from pretty far away, so I don't think it would make sense for them unless they were preparing a tour of the South.
Mhm. Yeah.
But we have an enormous draw in town. So, like, if we can sell out a 200 capacity venue, and then next year we're going to be playing the Exit Inn, which is one of the most famous venues in town. We're currently actually looking for our third band. We're working on our third band for that bill.
Mm.
The date is set in stone, but we have a few different bands from out of town that we're working on relationships with so we can do a show swap. And we would love to have Castle Rat, but I just don't know if it would be worth it for them to come all the way down unless they have that trip already planned because I think it would just be expensive for them.
Yeah, there's another band actually up from Massachusetts that's another female-fronted doom metal band that's been on the show. I can't think of what the name of the band is in this moment, but when I think of it later, I'll send it to you. I mean, it's
Please,
another like long distance thing, but it is the same kind of good crossover of audience.
that would be
Uh,
awesome. Thank you.
Anytime. So, after a long day of recording, touring, or working out the kinks, what is your favorite way to practice self-care?
Cool. Let's see. I love all of it. I think I like disconnecting. I like taking a long shower, washing I like removing all of my makeup and very tenderly like applying like lotions and potions to my face and my neck and all my body. I really like the unmasking process. And I mean, most of the time that's very late at night. So I'm already like fatigued and tired, but there's no rush. So I can just kind of very slowly just like take things apart and put things away and everything like that. So I think that's probably my favorite is the facial self-care.
Love it. Do you have any favorite facial self-care products? Any like rose water or particular kind of makeup remover or anything like that?
I am a Clarins lady. I love all of their products. They are so nice. So I love all of their face lotions and stuff, but I use the little Neutrogena makeup wipes to take it off or like the liquid that they have. And that stuff is really good and really cheap. So it's like
Mm.
for that kind of thing, I love that cheap stuff. But for applying to my face, like product to my face, like I like the nicer stuff.
Yeah.
I'm a money maker.
For me, it's the micellar water right now and the like just some cotton pads. Oh my gosh. Anything to make it like easy and effective because there's a lot of glitter here. So,
Yes.
do you have any new announcements for us?
We do. We are having our very first ever band camp Friday.
Woo!
Um, so I'm excited about that. It's going to be the first time that we have made our records openly like available for sale outside of town.
Oh,
So We currently, of our first pressing, we had 260 copies of our first pressing. There are 140 left and available for purchase. So we're going to make, I think, 50 available on this first Bandcamp Friday. Then we'll do another one in January. Anybody that buys one is going to get a few extras thrown in with them, like so the our records are extremely special. Like I was saying, I want all of our customers, like I want to sell what I would want to buy. I want to sell the very best, most beautiful product, something that people just simply could not walk away without. So our record, I spared no expense. I got the gatefold. I got the poly sleeves, the 180-gram vinyl. They're two different colors.
Mm.
There's a hand-stamped postcard. There's a special sticker that only comes with the record. Never gonna sell it. And they all have little sexy, I have one with me actually right here. They all have sexy little Polaroids inside them. This is a naughty
Ooh,
one of me. And so they're all unique, sexy Supremes.
I love
And
it.
so, and they're all hand signed and they're all hand numbered by me. So you're literally getting the bestest, coolest, most fantastic version of this record. We're not going to press it the same way. It's not going to have the same cover when we repress it. So if you want the first, most rare, most collectible record that we ever sell, this is the one.
Well done. Do you want to tell everybody where they can listen to your music and where they can follow what you do?
They can listen to us anywhere they stream music. Please enjoy. And you can follow us on any of your social media platforms you prefer. I'm super active on our Instagram page, so that's where you'll probably see the most updates directly and quickly from me. But yeah, anywhere that you enjoy your social media, you can follow us. I'm old lady and I don't understand our TikTok very well. So our manager helps us, Derek helps us with our TikTok because I just don't understand it. And I don't have the bandwidth to do 10 or 15 different social media pages, a full-time job, run the
Yeah.
band, write this, it's like I don't have time to learn a new social media platform. And I frankly don't want to because I already have to spend so much time engaging on social media to, keep people interested and keep us on the radar. So yeah, anywhere you like to get social media, we have a page. I even have a really stupid Twitter page where I only post really dumb stuff. So, yeah, anything that you want, you can pretty much find it from our website or from our Instagram page.
Excellent. All right. And what's your Instagram handle for the people that are going to go look for that?
It is Omenbringer Band
Okay.
at Omenbringer Band. So please go and find us there on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, anywhere you like.
Okay. So now we're going to play the closing vinyl game. I'm going to hold up two pieces of vinyl and you can pick one that you want to say something about or a question that you have, or you can even pick both if you're feeling like that. So Stevie Nicks or Grace Slick?
Ooh, I guess I'm gonna go with Stevie Nicks because I haven't really listened to Grace Slick very much, so I have more familiarity with Fleetwood Mac and with Stevie Nicks and her solo music.
Yes. Do you have any particular fun facts about Stevie Nicks that come to mind or any favorite songs?
She was maybe one of the first like famous musicians that I'd ever heard was an actual witch.
Hmm.
And so that fascinated me about her. And then as soon as I knew that, I was like, oh, that makes so much sense. Now, I was young, I think, when I found that out. But like, turn that record over again, real quick. Yes. Okay. What a fabulous image that is right there on the back. It's just so beautiful. It really encapsulates her like beauty and mystique and the way that the lighting is like all that you can see that's lit up is her face and the rest of it is kind of obscured. It's really reminded me of Riley's look from Castle Rat right now, her big like hair and stuff, and the big eyes.
Mm-hmm.
So just kind of love that super classic rock influence, like especially for like ladies. I love that look and how that's like come back. And that's our influences are all like 70s and 80s metal bands and classical music and things like that. Like older stuff is what really I love. So I just love that imagery so much and would love to emulate it myself.
Yeah, Riley also mentioned that she loves the Beatles, so you two could have like a Beatles chat sometime. I want to just say a few things about this particular solo album, Grace Slick leaving Jefferson Airplane. There's a song on here. There's a lot of songs on here that I think that you would like, but Angel of the Night, recorded in 79, March of 79, was really like the first heavy metal song. Like, I mean, there were other bands doing satanic rock, but as far as heavy metal songs go, this was like the Grace Slick had a couple of moments where she almost leaned into heavy metal, but that one was truly heavy metal. So let's do something doomy. LA Witch or Hoax?
Ooh, I do love LA Witch. They are very fun. They are coming back to Nashville soon, I think. I think I'm going to see them soon, but I can't really remember. I've got so many concerts coming up soon that I'm going to that I have no memory of all of them. Thankful for my calendar. It
Yeah,
keeps me on track.
yeah, they are on tour, so that sounds super fun. If you haven't heard Hoaxed, it's kind of similar. It's got the same sort of dreamy vocals, also a three-piece girl doom metal band, and the bassist of this band, Prilzor, who is also in Soul Grinder, is going to be covering bass for Unto Others for a couple of shows. I
I
really
was
wish.
admiring that shirt.
April Prilzor, she designed it herself. It's
It's
the
awesome.
uh, yeah. Yeah. Anyway, and let's do these two. Oh, darn, that wasn't the pair I was going to do. Whatever. Cher or Bonnie Tyler.
I love me some Cher.
Also looking quite
She is
witchy
such a
on this
cool
cover.
lady. Yes, very. She is a total witch. Cool lady.
It does have Dark Lady on it, which is a very witchy song.
Mm.
Yep, yep. Cher's album, Believe. There are so many underrated songs on that album. I know that Believe was like the biggest hit of her career when she was in her 50s as well, which is saying a lot because she had a lot of hits. Um,
Right.
just goes to show that women do not expire. And
Thank you.
there's this song Taxi Taxi on there that's so freaking good. Anyway, I love me some Cher. I love when she does a vocal burn with that deep voice and all that heavy vibrato. And
I love her
uh,
kitschiness, like her show.
she is so sparkly.
Hmm.
Um,
So
okay,
sexy.
see about there's two newer bands, Burning Witches or Vorlust.
I'm more familiar with Warlust, but I have not really listened to either of these very much.
I
Sort of an old school lady. I love
thought
that artwork so much, though. Oh, it's so good.
so. Canis is the singer of Vorlust, and she's currently directing, and producing her own first film about some women getting revenge.
Oh, love
Um,
that.
I
I
thought
hope
you,
it's got titties in it. I
knowing
love
her,
titty
it
movies.
probably does. And yeah, I figured you might like Vorlust because Vorlust has shock rock elements to it as well.
Our second album is definitely doom, very doomy. It's I'm very excited about it. We're currently working on recording it right now. So our second album will be doomy, and then our third album will be kind of more, it has like a big, almost like pop rock ballad. And then
Hmm.
our fourth album is actually going to be called Sinister Trip. And we
Ooh.
are all going to go out into the woods and do a bunch of mushrooms and write a album that is not meant to be a scary mushroom trip. It's just meant to be a dark companion for your mushroom trip.
Okay, so this one might be easy for you, but I hope it's a little challenging. Kate Bush or Coven?
I have that Coven record. It's pretty fun. It just depends. I mean, I would say that Kate Bush is definitely more dynamic. Coven is more, you know, I think a lot of their songs are kind of similar sounding, but Kate Bush is kind of a little bit more dynamic and all over the place in terms of her songwriting. Like she's got all kinds of different elements that she's weaving in. So
For sure.
I can't really say that I choose one or the other because I think they're both cool and influential.
Yeah, it is. It would be very hard to pick if they were playing the same night and you only could pick one. Okay, and then this is like a weird little mini one. Um, the singer from this band, Jill Janis, she was also in Huntress. So think of Huntress for this, or Lucifer.
I couldn't say. Not familiar with either of those.
Okay, you're gonna love Huntress. I will send that to you as well. And then Lucifer, you're gonna love Lucifer. That's another band that if you wanted to play with someone who would have a crossover audience for you.
Awesome. That would be
Yeah, so
great.
great. At the end, two new things that I think you're gonna love.
I
Yeah,
love learning about new stuff. I love checking out new music. My listening is not really in the metal world. I listen to classic metal all the time, but I'm always kind of all over the place in my like what I'm discovering on Spotify or well, I use Spotify. But yeah, I'm my taste is like kind of all over the map, so it's kind of I'm always down for some new suggestions, especially lady metal groups.
yeah, and I mean, I'm like, you know, working on becoming the expert in this, so I'm sure that my sensibility for what you're gonna like won't be too far off. So
Trust
that,
your judgment.
thank you, dear. Thank you for your time tonight. It was great to talk to you, and I'll be in touch. I'll send you lots of things.
Oh, you are so welcome. And I hope that anybody watching would love to join the coven and come and see us and check out our music. So thank
I
you
will,
so much.
yeah, if I'm ever in Nashville, I'll definitely be looking out for one of your shows.
Oh, for sure. We'll be touring soon, so just keep an eye
Oh,
out.
good, good. All right. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you.